Hello everyone, welcome to another video, and today in this video we are going to solve this question called validate binary search tree. This is a very common, very frequently asked question by a lot of companies including Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, Uber, Lyft, and this is defined as a medium level problem on LeetCode, but it's not as tough if you are aware of the optimized approach and how recursion works. So I would consider this to be a relatively easy problem, but then the most optimized approach might be tough to come up with if you have not solved questions like that. So I'll be explaining the most optimized approach as well as the brute force one. So if you're liking these videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and share it around with your friends for whom these videos might be helpful. And without wasting much time, let's quickly understand the explanation for this question and we'll write its most optimized code as well. Okay, so the question says that given the root of a binary tree, we need to determine if it is a valid binary search tree or not. And they have explained what a BST is. So the left subtree of a node should include values which are only less than the key. So they've mentioned only, which means duplicate values are not allowed in the tree. It cannot even be same as the key. It needs to be strictly lesser than the root node's value. And similarly for the right subtree, all the values should be strictly greater than the root node's value. And both the left and right subtrees should be recursively binary search trees as well. So this property should be defined for all left and right subtrees as well. So for example, for this test case, 1 is smaller than 2 since it's lying towards its left, and 3 is greater than 2. So this is a valid BST and it's returning true. Then in the next test case, 5 to the left is 1, which is smaller than 5, so this is fine. To the right of 5 is node 4, which is false because it is less than 5 and all values should be greater than 5 towards the right. And that's what they've mentioned here as well. So this is false, this is not a BST. And then they have mentioned some constraints as well. So the problem statement is pretty straightforward. We just need to check if the property is valid for every node and we need to return true or false accordingly. Okay, so let's move to the explanation for this particular question. And let's say this is the input tree that we have been given. And we need to check if this tree is a binary search tree or not. So whether it is a BST or not is what our question is. And you can see that for root 5, everything here should be smaller than 5 and here should be greater than 5. So 1 is smaller, so that's fine. 4 is not greater than 5, so here the property breaks and we don't have to check anything else. So we can clearly see that this particular tree is not a binary search tree. So what should be our approach to solve this? The very first thing is basically a brute force approach where we are going to do exactly what the definition of our binary search tree asks us to do. So for example, for any node, let's say if we are at this particular node at any point, so we are going to traverse towards everything to its left, and we need to keep on checking if all the values in my left subtree are smaller than my root node, which is 4, or not. And similarly, if they are, then I will also traverse to everything which is to my right, and I'll keep on checking if those values are greater than root node 4 or not. And this is how we can check for every node if it's a binary search tree or not. So for, let's say we start with node 5, and for node 5, I'll traverse this subtree, which is to my left. It has only one node, so I'll check if that is smaller than 5. So 1 is smaller than 5, so this is fine. And then the recursive call will basically move back to its parent, so we come back to 5. Then I'll make a call towards my right subtree, so this part. And here also, the first node I have is 4. So once we check for 4, we'll find that this is not greater than 5. So our property breaks, and from this node itself, so from this call itself, we can return false, which means that this particular given tree is not a BST. So let's consider one more example. Let's consider the case for this tree now. And what we'll do is for every node, we are going to make recursive calls towards its left and right subtrees to check if they are if their values lie in the given range. So if we start from the root node, we'll first make calls on the left subtree, and all values of my left subtree should be smaller than my root value. So we have 2 and 4, both are smaller than 7, so this is fine. Then similarly, I'll iterate over my right subtree, and these values should be greater than 7. So 11, 8, 15, and 13 all are greater than 7. So it's fine till now. And then this same thing we need to do for every single node. So once I'm done with 7, I know that this root is valid. Then we come to 2. So for 2 also, I'll have to repeat this exact process. We'll make a call on its left subtree, it's empty. Then right, these values should be greater than 2. So 4 is greater than 2, that's fine. Similarly, I'll do the same thing for node 4. So I'll make calls here and here, and you get the idea. Then from 11 also, I'll make a call here and then here. So this value is smaller than 11 and these are greater than 11. So that's true for 11 as well. Similarly for 8, we'll make calls over these two subtrees. Those are both empty. Then for 15, this value should be smaller than 15. So it's true. And here there's nothing. So it will return. Then for 13 also, both of these subtrees are null. So all the values are valid in this case. And that is why this is a valid BST. So this is how we are iterating over every single node and then towards their left and right subtrees in the brute force approach. So if we talk about the time complexity for this one, it's obvious. There are n nodes in my tree, and for every single node, I need to iterate over all the nodes in my left subtree and all the nodes in my right subtree. So at max, this can be big O of n square in terms of time. And this n square factor is basically making this approach a very costly approach in terms of time. And also in this particular approach, we never really leveraged any property of binary search tree. We were just randomly checking every single value if it's fine or not. But if it actually is a BST, then it will follow a certain property which we can use to make our time complexity much more effective and efficient. So let us discuss that optimized approach now. Okay, so now for the optimized approach, what we'll do is we'll use a property of the BST. that we know for every node, the left nodes are smaller and right nodes are greater. So if this is my current root node and there's something here to the left of me and there's something to the right of me. So let's say my value for the root node is x. So I know that all these values should be smaller than x and these values should be greater than x. And then if I say that this node is, let's say, y, and this node has some value z. So if there's something to the right of y now, so this particular subtree, I know that nodes for this particular subtree should lie in the value which is more than y, but less than x. And how can I say that? Because this is to the left of x and to the right of y. So if the nodes follow the property of a BST, then these conditions should be true for every single node. So basically, we can have two values, which is a lower limit, and an upper limit for every single node. And the value of the node should be in between this range, somewhere between a lower limit and upper limit. It should not be less than the lower limit or more than the upper limit. So using this, we can only iterate over all the nodes once and keep checking this property. As soon as this property fails for any node, we can conclude that the tree is not a BST. And now for our root node, there are not going to be any such constraints on the values because there is nothing above the root. So no one decides what the value of root should lie in between. So basically what I'm saying is for my root node, no matter what value it has, its range is always going to be minus infinity to plus infinity, because I know that my root node can have any value that it wants, and then based on the value of that root node, we are going to decide the range of values for my other nodes which are below the root node. So for example, when I make the call on the root node, I will pass these two parameters. This is basically my lower limit and this is my upper limit. So I'll pass these values. Minus infinity and plus infinity can be treated as very small integer or very high integer, which are there in any programming language. So first I'll check if my root node lies in between this particular range, and it does. So I'll make recursive calls towards its left and right subtrees, and for my right subtree, my values will change. So my lower value, when I'm going towards my left, so for that left child, my lower value will always remain the same because it can still have values in this range, but its upper value is going to be bounded by my root because it's to the left of my root, so it cannot be more than the root value. So basically my low value will be minus infinity only for node 2 I'm talking, and then the up value will now be 7. So this node 2 needs to lie in between this range, minus infinity to 7. And so we'll make the check if 2 lies between these two numbers, and it does. So then we'll make a recursive call towards my left, and on my left I'll again pass the values as minus infinity, and then the upper will be bounded by 2, which is my current root node. There's nothing towards my left, so the call will return, and for my right the logic will reverse. Basically my right will only be bounded on the lower limit by my roots value. So what I'm saying is, towards my right, my higher limit is going to remain the same only, so it's still going to be 7, and I'm talking for node 4, but my lower limit will now be bounded by my current roots value, so that is 2, because the values to my right can only be higher than my value, so it cannot be lower than 2. So 2's right child needs to lie between this range 2 and 7, and we'll check for 4. Does it lie here? So it does. So it's valid till now also. For 4's children, we'll make calls and they'll simply return because it's null, so we can directly return, and then the call will return back to its parent and then back to its parent. So now we are done for the left subtree of 7, this entire portion, and now we'll start making calls towards my right subtree as well. My right child is going to be bounded by the low value, same as my value. So 7's right child should have values more than 7. So the range for 11 will be 7 to whatever the current upper limit was for my current root, and for root 7 the upper limit was plus infinity. So even the right child of 7 can have values starting from 7 to plus infinity, any value in between. And we'll check if 11 lies in between these two numbers, and it does, so it's fine for 11. Then we'll make a call for the left subtree of 11. So whenever we go to the left, the lower limit remains the same, so this is going to be 7, and the upper limit updates by my current roots value, so this is going to be 11. So this value should lie between 7 and 11, and 8 lies between that range, so it's fine for 8. Then we'll be making calls for my left and right children, which are both null, so the call will return back to the parent. Then we return back from 8 to 11, and now from 11 the recursive call will be made for the right subtree, which is 15. Now for my right, the lower value will be bounded by my current root node's value because it needs to be higher than the root node's value. So 11 is the low value, and high value will again remain the same as my root node's value. So for 11, the high was plus infinity, so it stays the same. And we'll check if 15 lies in between these two numbers, and it does. So it's fine for 15 as well. Now the control goes to the left subtree. For 13, the updated values will be, so we are going to the left, so the low value will now remain the same. It can be similar to the parent, but the high value will be decided by the parent's value. So 15 is the value which is going to be the upper limit, and 13 needs to lie between these two numbers, and it does, so it's fine for 13 as well. Then we are going to make recursive calls for my left and right subtrees, which are null, so control will come back, and then from 13 control goes back to the parent. From 15 we make a recursive call on the right subtree, there is nothing, so control comes back to the parent. Then again from 15 it reaches back to 11, and then from 11 to 7. So once the control reaches back to the root, we are going to return true from all these cases, and similarly true from the root node as well. So since we are returning true, it means that the given binary tree is in fact a binary search tree. Now at any point, if the condition had failed, for example, let's consider this case, In this one, it's not a BST. So here what we would have done is, for 5, the value ranges are plus infinity, minus infinity to plus infinity. So 5 lies between that range. So 5 is true. Then we'll make a call to the left child of 5. For this, the range lower limit will be the same. Upper will be bounded by roots value, so 5. So does 1 lie in between this range? It does. So it's fine for 1 as well. Then we would have made a call to the right subtree. And then for the values of my right subtree, my lower limit would be 5 and upper limit would be plus infinity. So 5's right child should lie in between these two numbers. And we check for 4 and we find that 4 is not in this range. So 4 is less than 5. So for node 4, my property is failing for the very first time. So I'm not going to make any further calls now. From 4 itself, I can simply return false to the parent. So as soon as control came to 4, I returned a false to my parent. And my parent then again returned false to the caller. So we'll get a false as the response from this particular call, indicating that the binary tree is not a BST. So this is how we are saving on time. We are only iterating over every single node once, using these two parameters, the lower and upper limit. So for the same reason, if we talk about the time complexity for this one, so it's pretty obvious. We are only iterating over all the nodes. If there are n nodes, then we iterate over all of them. And it's going to be theta of n, actually not even big of n, because in every case, we have to iterate over every single node. We cannot skip any node because we have to check the condition for every single node of the tree. So it's going to be an exact bound in terms of the number of nodes. So theta of n is the time. And then if we talk about the space, so ideally we are not here using any extra containers. It's just two variables being passed, lower and upper limit. But then since this is a recursive function, a recursive approach, so the call stack is going to be filled with different recursive stack frames. And if we talk about that, so at max, at one point of time, the number of frames in our call stack could be same as the height of the tree. So the height of the tree could be anything, but let's say if the tree is skewed, so it's something like this. So if there are 4 nodes, then the height of the tree is also 4. So in that case, the height of the tree can be bounded by the number of nodes. And we cannot be certain about the height of the tree, so we can clearly say that it's big O of the number of nodes, which is the number of stack frames, the depth of the tree that is going to be residing in my call stack at one point of time. Those many recursive calls will be there. So theta of n will be the most optimized time for this approach, and big O of n will be the space for this approach. So I hope you understood the solution. Let me quickly write its code so that I can explain it even better. Okay, so let's move on to the programming part for this particular question. And we have this function called isValidBST, which accepts the root node of my tree. So the reason I'm saying tree is because it's not necessary that it's going to be a BST. It can be any normal binary tree. And it returns a boolean, which is either true or false, depending on whether that binary tree follows the property of a BST or not. So as I mentioned, we'll need another recursive function for this one. So let's just create a function, and I like calling it helper function. So again, this is going to be bool, and let's call it helper. This is going to accept my root node first, and then it's going to accept two more parameters that we discussed, the lower limit as well as the upper limit. So let me pass the lower limit, and then similarly another integer, which is the upper limit. Now using these two values, for every node, we'll check if that particular node lies between these two values, lower and upper limit, or not. So the first case that we need to handle is if the root node is null. So if I make a call to the left or right subtrees of the leaf node, or if my tree does not contain any value. So like for an empty tree which does not have any node, we are going to return true, because an empty tree is also a valid BST, because having no node is not violating the property of a BST. So an empty tree is always considered to be a valid BST, and we are going to return true from any call made to a null node. But if the node has some value, then I'm going to check if that value lies in the given range or not. So instead of checking if my value lies in the given range, because that's going to be obvious if this is a BST, so I can instead directly check if that value does not lie in the given range, because once I find any node whose value lies outside this given range, I can immediately return false, because I won't even have to check for the other nodes. That node is by itself violating the property. So let us check if the value of this particular current root node, if root's value, so it should be greater than the lower limit. So if it's less than or equal to the lower limit, which means it is outside, or if the root's value is, it needs to be less than the upper limit. So if it's greater than or equal to the upper limit, in both these conditions, in any of these conditions, it's defeating the property of a BST. So I can basically directly return false from here itself. I'm not going to check, I'm not going to make any recursive calls after this, because if I find a single node that is not adhering to the property, that's it. But if this does not return false, so basically this condition, if it does not return false, which means my current root node is in this given range. So the property is valid for my current root node. But then I will have to make these checks for my left and right subtrees for the root node as well. So to do that, we can simply make calls on my left and right subtree. So basically what I'm saying is I'll be making two calls. Firstly on my left subtree, and then for my left child node, the lower limit will still remain the same only as we discussed. So I can pass the same lower limit as my current root node's lower limit, but the upper limit for my left child will get bounded by my current root node's value. So I can pass the value of the root node as the upper limit. And then I will also make this same call for the right child. So root right, and then for the right child, the lower limit will be bounded by my current root node's value. So instead of lower limit, I'll pass the current value, and the upper limit will remain the same. So this we've already discussed in the explanation. And then this is an AND condition. So if both these things are true, basically if the condition is true for my left subtree, entire subtree, and my entire right subtree, if both of those subtrees handle this property, then only I can return true from this function to indicate that the BST, that the given tree is a valid BST. But since this is an AND clause, so if any one of those do not adhere to the property, so that is going to return false. And I can simply return whatever this entire thing returns. So these are two calls being made and an AND clause between them. So if both of them are always true, then only I'll return a true from this function. Otherwise, if either of those happen to be false or return false at any later stage, so this entire statement will also return a false from this function. And this is all I have to do to check if the entire tree is a BST or not. Now from our actual function, we just need to make one call on this recursive function, passing the correct values for my first node, my root node. So this one is my root node. And as we discussed, for my root node, so the node is root, and then the lower and upper limit are going to be negative and positive infinity because it can have any values. So for my lower limit, instead of minus infinity, I'm using C++. So you can pass long min, which is a very small negative value. And for plus infinity, you can pass long max. If you are using Java, then this is going to be integer.min value, and this is going to be integer.max value. So there are such values in every programming language. These are called some constant values that they have already defined. So these are the two values for my root node. And this function is going to return either true or false, depending on whether the tree is a valid BST or not. So I can also directly return whatever this function returns. So I'm just going to write this, and that's pretty much it. And I guess that's all we need to do for this one. This function will automatically return the answer, whether it's a BST or not. And for the root node, we are passing a very small long value, which is being accepted here. One second, this should be long since I'm passing a long value. So I'm also required to accept it using a long data type. And similarly for my right value, I'm passing plus infinity, which is a very high value, and I'm accepting it as the upper limit. So that's pretty much it for this. Let me run this to check if this is being accepted. This should be upper limit. Okay. So this should be capital L. Okay, I've missed a semicolon as well. So I think now this should work fine. So it's working for my sample test cases. If I submit this code, so you can see that it's getting accepted, and this is the most optimized solution we can have for this particular question. And this is working in theta of n time and big O of n space, if you are considering the recursive call stack frames to occupy some space. Otherwise, this is constant in terms of space. So that's all for this question. And I hope you understood the explanation for this particular problem. This is a very commonly asked problem in most of the interview rounds. And if you like such videos, please do consider subscribing to the channel and do share it around with your friends. You can give this video a like if you appreciate these efforts. And for any doubts for this particular question, or for any queries that you have, or any suggestions for other questions that you want me to solve, list them out in the comment section and I'll go through those. So that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with the next question in the next video.